Hello.
Hey, good to see you.
You too.
So I thought that we might start just with a brief go around, check in, say hello. How are you arriving um, right now into the space? And then Songyi, I'm gonna plan on hosting our deep dive with you on gatherings, and maybe I'll share a little bit more about how I'm thinking that we can move through that once we just do a brief hello, hi to everyone. So I'll go first and Kevin will come after me. It's good to be with you all. I'm really excited for this deep dive. It's the end of a busy day here, but I'm feeling energized and the sun is out. So arriving really, really well into the space. Kevin.
Hey guys, thanks for including me. Thanks for hosting. Yeah, as I was just mentioning to Josh, I moved to New Zealand just a few weeks ago. So I'm been overwhelmed, excited, and I'm looking at places in Rotorua. So I'm based in Rotorua right now. So I should hopefully have a guest room. So if anyone wants to crash and check out hot springs and whatnot, hoping to make that happen. So, and I got up at 5 in the morning. So this is the end of my workday as well. So even though it's only 10 a.m. here. And I was supposed to say I'm going to pass it to Josh so that he would know that I'm going to pass it to him now.
Doing pretty well this morning. We spent like half an hour looking for Natalie's phone as she went out the door and did not find it. So it's just like it's in the house somewhere, I believe. And have started the furnace, so the underfloor heating's going. So it's been a bit chilly, and it's really nice just having some warm floors and rooms. And yeah, really excited just by like the deep dive idea, and just like I want to hear what Songyi's up to. I've heard little bits of it. I'm looking forward to a big dive into that. I forgot to pass as well. I'll go to Baz.
I'll pass it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm arriving today, feeling pretty good. I've been out of the house already, went to a doctor's appointment, and yeah, just really enjoying the DAO and getting to know people better, and enjoyed our session, Bridget, and yeah, looking forward to learning about what you're up to, Songyi. Thanks.
Hey everyone. Definitely kind of like in a DAO, Inspiral DAO mindset. I'm catching up on some of the onboarding calls that I missed out on, and my brain's kind of like teeming with ideas about like how do we code Inspiral, and also some other kind of actually somewhat similar kind of business DNA codification, like DAO related initiative that I thought was kind of like dead in the water is now maybe starting to pick up steam again. So just really looking forward to a fun conversation in this space. And over to you, Songyi.
Hi, everybody. It's 7 a.m. here in Korea. I'm currently with my parents. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm still waking up a little bit. Hopefully, I can share some of the stuff that I'm doing, and probably the gathering will be the anchor of the topic. But it's obviously whatever we do is always coming from the past. So I think I'm probably gonna cover a little bit of why I'm doing this, and then like try to like integrate the DAOs into that conversation, and super excited to share. I will be in New Zealand about in a week time, coming with my parents. It's first time my family and my partner's family meeting. So it's quite exciting. And I think we'll be actually heading to Rotorua. It depends on the weather. If it's cold, then we're going to go up. If it's not cold and bearable, then we're going to stay in Wellington. So super exciting to be back, actually. Go back home and then hang out and enjoy beautiful cold weather. Yeah, that's me.
Nice. Well, Songyi, I feel like you were already starting to just signal some things ahead in terms of what might be a good starting point, but some of the kind of like the string that maybe we might move through together. is I was thinking you beginning with like some context and the why, just like bringing people, what do we need to know about gatherings as it exists now? Might be interesting to go into like what's some of the stuff that's already happening or already underway. What are some of your like wildly ideal future scenarios, goals, plans, hopes? And then like support requests that might be useful, and we can open it up along the way for questions, wise crowds, and kind of be a little bit informal with it as we set kind of the baseline for each other. How does that sound? Yeah. And is there anything else that you would like love to add to that flow?
I think we can just go, and that flow is really good, and I will try to cover it. Just one thing is, I think this is probably the only place that people can understand why I'm doing this in a way that it's a part of my journey, right? It's not about like business finance success, and people would think like, why are you doing such a not scalable work, But because it's important, and because I'm always looking for things that only I can do, and the space is very big and there's a lot of things to do. But I think important people are doing this kind of work. So that's why I just wanted to give you guys as a context. And then, yeah, we can have a different conversation around that too. I'm probably gonna share quick presentation. Actually, I gave a talk yesterday, and I can probably use a little bit of those slides. Recycling, when you're not so prepared, you can always recycle your previous stuff. Where is that? Maybe let me see. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, this was actually it was about community and governance in Web3. So just ignore the title, but I'll just use the slide that I have and then use it for whatever context we have. So my name is Songyi. I'm born and raised in Korea, and then traveled the world, being almost full-time nomad for 11 years. As soon as I started my crypto journey, career-wise, I was nomad, but I was traveling before then as well. And because I was crossing a lot of different culture and different contexts and different people and different interests, I've been doing a lot of bridging work. So this was like kind of like a definition of who I am that is given by some other people. This was like Asong is a bridger between the technology and ecology, and also business and movement, and local and global. It's a lot of pressure, but that's kind of what I do at the end. And now I'm like kind of identify myself as a cultural or like experienced producer, and then the culture pollinator. So that's what I'm doing. And I really, the reason why I joined Inspire and then also joined this Inspire DAO is I love working with the people that I love and working with some things that is matter for me and the world, and making enough resources to sustain our lifestyle. And resources, not just money, but also our time, energy, relationship, a lot of different layers. And I think the experiment that Inspire did was really big inspiration for me to really test in my daily life and to see if it's working, not just online, but offline in my also local context. And then also in the Web3 space, a lot of DAO movement and the new governance and things like that, that enables a lot of this experiment. And I think ultimately people want this lifestyle, but they haven't actually found that it's possible, first of all, and second, that is accessible for them. So I think what we do right now is really, really meaningful. And obviously to make this work, and there's a lot of experiment needs to happen So the gathering is one of the experiment that I'm doing, and I'm probably going to go over what I've done it in the past in terms of like DAOs and why a little bit. So my story, I was going to quickly go over. I met blockchain in the 2011 through my ex-partner, and he was into Bitcoin. And so we were like exploring like, what is this? And there are not much use cases. Just buying the drugs and weapons, the black market, there was a best use case back then. And when I first met Bitcoin, we started doing a little bit of mining. And so it's a lot of things were just really technical experiment, and then like amazed by the thoughts that Satoshi Nakamoto put in the white paper. And if you don't know what that is, that's kind of inception of like the whole crypto space has happened, and it's nothing new. It's nothing like ever before. Actually, Satoshi Nakamoto is a person that no one knows who it is. It could be a group, it could be a man, it could be a woman, and people just still have a like, oh, was this the person? But what he did is actually he just put a lot of different theory together, and then like just put in one map that is working. So that's what he did, and that's what the inception of blockchain. And it wasn't just about money, but the money currency model was easy to kind of speak with the people. I think that's why he used a Bitcoin as a concept. And then I was working for World Vision, which is the biggest humanitarian organization. Found out that just helping without any like, how can I say, just helping is needed in the baseline, but I wasn't happy with that level of work. I think I need to see more spark, and then entrepreneurship, and then economic wheel has to be in the center of this thing. And then thinking of like how I can do, and people didn't have any way to send and receive money. So me and my partner built a SMS Bitcoin wallet, so people can send Bitcoin as easy as sending text message without internet. So that was our first product. And then soon I become a Silicon Valley like tech startup founder, things like that. So it's a crazy story. But I cannot hide my identity. I've been doing that role a little bit, but I soon came back to the community space and ecosystem building, and I've been doing a lot of bridging work, and then work on a few more interesting technology product like building decentralized identity and a few others. And then now I'm focusing on the DAO stuff on the most of the time, and helping individual and organizations to grow through different Web3 principle and tooling. And then, this is a photo of the gatherings that we threw last week. And I have more photos. It was beautiful. Stephanie flew in, so we co-facilitated together. And, Inspiral were mentioned a few times. And this was basically like Inspiral retreat, but more in the city without living together. But it was really beautiful, and everybody were really, really happy. So I can skip this thing. And if anyone is interested in what a Web 1 and 2 and 3, this is a very simple slide that I'm always using. Web 1 is information economy, that is very passive interaction between the user and then the platform or the service. And then Web 2 is interactive, and then the users get something and do something, but still like owned by the government. Not government, owned by it could be government sometimes, it could be owned by companies or a few organizations, a few individual. There's platform economy, so user can make some money and then sell something, but it's never theirs. Web3 is like token economy that is very proactive. So users actually can earn and owns and a lot of different things. That relationship in the normal industry between stakeholder, consumer, and then the company owner, it was a triangle. They're always fighting each other. There is tension. I want to get paid more, but I don't want to pay you more. I want to buy cheap, but they want to sell high. And then the stakeholder and shareholder always want to make more things out of all this. But like in the Web3, and then more crypto and more decentralized economy is like a circle. So everything benefiting each other in a way. And this was basically the comparison of like community and actually not governance, business web 1, and then 2 and 3. We can skip this part. It's easy. Yeah, so community and DAO stuff, I mean, my definition of DAO is like a new way of organizing and coordination, basically. And this was one example. Like Weave was basically, you know, as it mentions, I got a lot of help from Bamboo and then Spiral to form this service DAO together. And then we had obviously all of this Spiral element to do that. And it was completely off-chain governance. And it was like basically the agency model of working together. So that was, I think, 4 years of experiment. And this one is also governance. I can skip that. And Impact Collective is like a capital, like a traditional VC meets Web3, and then we gave like all the decision-making power to the people, the community, 1,800 people, and see what are the outcome. Can we actually get a more interesting group and teams doing better job when we give this power to the community rather than a few of partner and associate just making decision together. The outcome was really blowing our mind. So we're just working on making this more to the DAO and a complete on-chain also. And right now, this was a little bit of token for incentive and on-chain voting, but it was also off-chain governance with experimenting DAOs, and not individuals, but coming different. Our service DAO came as a one DAO member, and the DISVC came also as equal DAO partner, and then UN agency come as equal partner. So it was a different group working together like a DAO. Yeah. I mean, like a little bit of context, like I truly believe the future of business is community-based model. So you cannot make money when you don't have a community. So, I mean, you can, very basic, even toilet paper. When I was in Australia, you know, like our friends had this like a fancy toilet paper that is more expensive than normal toilet paper. What are they buying? Why are they buying that? Not because it feels good when you clean, but you know, it's just about the stories, you know, it's about of course the value. And then there's like so many different reasons why we're buying different things, and there's stories and values and incentive and inclusivity into those products. And also, so as a lot of different business, or now the creative economy going wild, you know, YouTubers and then influencers and whatever you do, then you do have a community to follow you. So like personal branding and so on, so on, so on. And to really build a sustainable model for this one individual, you know, they cannot just keep going selling their hours, right? So how can we actually including more token economics and then different stories and then engagement, high engagement from their fans to the business. So like a big fandom like BTS, for example, biggest K-pop boys band, they're making a lot of money, not just selling their songs, but also they selling their merchandise, right? So like that's how that works. I mean, if they don't have this fandom, the merchandise market wouldn't work. And then if there's no market to buy those things, it doesn't work. So there's a lot of different like economic benefit that comes with the people and comes with the story. So I think that's very, very important. And so as a DAOs, and I don't think DAOs are particularly will we form around the financial incentive mechanism, but like I could imagine there is a website that you can go to discover your DAO, but based on your value, based on the story that you want to hear, and based on the story that you want to see. So, oh yeah, this is a DAO. You know, like based in New Zealand, we are building blah, 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 blah. And this is a DAO. We are, you know, like this is like, if you're a fantasy lover, like come join our DAOs. And this is like a DAO. If you're interested in climate change, you want to see this and that and that, come join. So it's rather than like how much money you can make, right? So I think that's kind of discovery that we will be seeing more and more in the future. And each DAO and each community, because it's a community, because it's all about human and the technology layer on top of it, I think building the strong and healthy community is really important. And a lot of DAOs and community, they're missing. And they don't see what is healthy community, what is the a basic stack or even full stack of to build a good DAOs and community. So oftentimes, like for example, they have a beautiful onboarding process, but there is a zero offboarding process. So people join and then they're like, wow, this is amazing and so on. And then they start fighting, there's conflicts, and there's no way we can actually kick those bad actors out, or no way they can leave. So in that case, well, it's a beautiful community of joy, but like it's not functioning. So there is still the how to build a community knowledge is really lacking. And so that part, some of us could cover and some of people can't cover. But my interest is like when I'm talking with this community and DAOs, and a lot of their focus, especially around the Web3 space, are mostly on the technology. And then they are even missing out, not even just offboarding, but the cultural piece. Why do we have to come together? Why is it important to understanding each other before we actually put our flag as a financial goal or any type of goal? Let's go there, but people doesn't have any equipment. People doesn't know how to go, how they don't have a map. So there's so many missing pieces to build those DAO, longevity and sustainability and the cultural piece and so on. And yes, they can learn how to do that online. And that's where I see that huge collaboration between the doing better work together, and then gatherings like you can go learn, interact, and DVWT, and then just really intellectually engage and learning of these patterns, and then meeting people. But then they come to gatherings. It's offline, basically experience studio that we design for DAOs and the remote team to really have a transformative experience. And then they can actually use this two opportunity to really equip themselves to success community. So yeah, that's kind of context. And then I move on to the gatherings a little bit. Oh shit, this is another example of like community using decentralized governance, blah, blah, blah. You can check. So World Vision kind of like a spin off this new product, charity meet Web3. I think this is another huge topic that we can cover another time. I'm just gonna move on. Yeah, so basically all in the human elements. Without this, we cannot success. And gathering is basically the experience design studio. That's the easiest way that we can explain right now. We started because, well, there is some more either business opportunity or huge kind of opportunity to creating this more gatherings, but no one ever done this. There is a consulting model of like, okay, I will facilitate things. So facilitations show up, and sometimes they help like design, and some people they just to facilitate. But other than that, there is no a decentralized market of whatsoever. And also DAO is start to form, and it just start to realize how important to have this physical space and experience. So Gitcoin is one of a big kind of like a public good funding tool, and then they just had a very first kind of like a Gitcoin member retreat. They never had this for like many, many years. And then there's a lot of DAOs that they start putting into their time and energy into the offsite. And for me, like my business opportunity that I saw there is like, because of pandemic, people are not putting money anymore into the office. They're putting more money into people's well-being and how can we actually come together as a team. And the DAOs also, like, they putting a lot of money into people's experience rather than whatever they can do. but they just don't have a person who can actually design that experience, and they don't know how. Especially in Asia Pacific, it's really just massive market, but it's no one can play that role at the moment, and they don't even realize that there is a people who can organize these things together. So I was thinking, okay, why not then we make some money and do some experience design, and then start offering this thing, and we can create a job for our facilitator friends, and we can also create an opportunity for our people who running retreat center around us. And then that was kind of the idea of starting, very simple. And like, oh, what if we do maybe 2 to 3 bespoke event and can get really big check, and also doing a little bit of like a learning, and basically raising the internal champions who can learn how to design this together, and they can later host their own event and so on. So basically, one, broadening the experience designer pool by doing that, and then second, doing the bespoke transformative experience, and third is a future piece that maybe I can talk about it a little bit more in the future later, but maybe making the online platform that we basically providing the basic playbook, and a lot of facilitator, a lot of healers or cooks or people who can run a artistic workshop, or yogis, yoga teachers, whoever can plug in, and the people start having this retreats and gatherings in their local version or wherever destination they go, and it's all decentralized, and people can start having pop-up like retreats, because we believe in the power of gatherings. Without that, no matter how elaborate your ideas and action in the head, it's really hard to put it down and then go forward. So that's kind of like the visions, and then the substance of what I think the gathering would be cool.
Wow, Songyi, that was incredibly rich and really helpful context. I'm wondering if we just want to do a quick question storm, maybe in chat, or if you want to, hop in and voice the question. But what do you want to know from what Songyi just shared? I think you're muted. Wait, Jeep.
Yeah, sorry. I started to type this one, but then my fingers were cold. I thought it'd be easy to speak. It seems to me that domain of like helping decentralized communities, especially decentralized web DAO communities, like see each other and get to know each other, that gathering's big component, but also community building, like community facilitation and Discord management, etc., would be another big component. And then when I think about gatherings themselves, there's like the front of house hosting, and there's also the operational organizing, and the latter seems like a much bigger part of it in general in terms of the workload. So I'm curious about, like, are you going to be doing community management offerings to the market and doing all three, or are you just doing in-person gatherings? And how are you thinking about the front of house and operations sort of split?
So I think we wouldn't do community management. That's a lot of work, and then we need to have a more context than just designing one experience to do the community management. And it's really a lot of work designing the community, and I might be able to do that like on the side as a freelancer or a consultant, but it won't be a gatherings offering. Yeah.
What about the ops versus hosting split?
The ops of organizing gatherings.
Yeah, operations versus hosting. Do you differentiate between that, or do you just do it all?
When you say operations, the operation of the gathering itself, or
yeah, as in like finding a venue, paying for it, organizing the food, giving people instructions to get there, getting everyone into the room at the right time.
Yes. That I think we should be depends, how much they pay for us. If it's a bespoke, and then if there is a big pocket clients, then we might just do it all ourselves. And then also one of the things that we really wanted to do is including our social enterprise friends to the table. So oftentimes when we do gatherings, we just did the Soulbound, and you know, the one of the sponsor, one of the biggest sponsor was actually running the bank and stuff like that. And we asked them like, hey, what are the catering option do you have? And they only have like really fancy hotel things and stuff like that. But they never actually exposed to other vendor, because those companies, they only have a one vendor. They keep doing this because it's easy for them. So we brought a lot of like different social enterprise. So two social enterprise actually offer together like a way cheaper, way better food, and way more satisfaction. So we want to do that more. And Stephanie, very much interested in climate change. So we were trying to look for also, if they have to flew in, how can we actually make the like a carbon zero kind of like a flight or travel people to come here. So we're thinking a lot about like bringing those narrative, and then there's services that is more sustainable and more social impactful into the thing. So we actually enjoy doing that operation, and also yeah, bringing people together. And probably if we're working with a company, we don't need to sell the ticket, but if we do our own thematic things, we're probably going to do a lot of like recruiting people and then doing these people, but there will be our fun. And one big piece is actually curation is everything. So if it's we doing our own thing, that we actually would love to have a power or some sort of filter who's coming, and that's quite important. And another third thing is like we work with, for example, Soulbound is not a gathering project, but we did it. And we had a different, like, okay, Spore DAO, another DAO that I created it's an official host, but it was all my brainchild. And it has become developed as an X-bound. So like we want to take it to the Kenya, we want to take it to New Zealand, and so on, so on, so on. And in that case, operation and everything can be done in a collaboration, and we just show up as a facilitator. And Stephanie already experienced it, so our team can come. And then now, once we did the Soulbound, there will be a more opportunity for us to get sponsors or whatever payment, and we can actually utilize that money to pay ourselves well. And another thing was also we did this. For example, Stephanie we cover her flight. And then she didn't get paid for it much yet, but we can do, this was our kind of sales pitch, right? So, hey, guys, if you design the experience with us, this is how it's going to be. And it was amazing. So in that case, we can get like a lot more lead in that sense. So it's like a lot of complex business slash operation, and everything kind of comes together. But Stephanie, for example, didn't do any operation, just show up and then run. And I did everything in the back end, and I quite enjoy. So that's why I also kind of distinguish me as a producer, like really building concept, curating people, and then bring people together, and then type like a facilitator. And then experience design is a little bit different than producing, in my opinion. So and also facilitator is very different than all those three. I mean, there's people who can do all of three, but some people only good at producing, design, and facilitating. So I'm more like a producer type. So that's how we kind of distinguish our roles as well. Yeah.
So Songyi, there's a question, and I feel like you're tapping on this a little bit, but what are some things that you need help with? What are your biggest asks right now?
Yeah, I think we haven't started officially yet, so we still are doing a little bit of trial, and soon we're gonna meet in person, hopefully within this year. So me and Stephanie, and there is another lady called Lalita. She is a startup community expert. So her interest is like really helping founders, right? So we need to just have like a little bit of our internal discussion about how we're gonna work together as well. And so who's gonna do what, and then how it's gonna work, and then what are the interests. So we still need our own gatherings to move forward. So as we move forward, there will be a lot of like a deliverable coming out, like for example, website or deck or like pitches and things like that. And I would love to show you guys and get feedback from. And then also, if you know any like person who is a very holistic experience designer or interested in experience design, we building our own database of who will be our future collaborator. So I could already imagine Josh, and then Bridget, and we probably, there is more people but we don't know. So if you know anyone, just ping us and then connect us. So there will be a big help. And also, yeah, that for now. I think there will be way more ask in a month or two time, hopefully.
Mhm. Well, there's also a piece here from Babs about the ecology piece that you mentioned in your slide. Babs, you want to speak to that anymore?
Oh, just that just belies my interest. I really liked those contrasting themes of, local, global, technology, ecology, and just interested in what you're learning about, the power of Web3 to address our ecological crises, or just in gatherings, or just that whole, you have such a depth of and breadth of experience. Kind of, how do you see DAOs and Web3 helping coordinate to solve some of the ecological crises that we're facing, if that's a topic? I know it's a little bit tangential, so feel free to skip this or not go into depth, but that's
To be fair, the DAO coordination is as bad as our ecology crisis at the moment. So we need help each other. But there is a well-intended humans, in the different spaces. And there's a huge movement around the refi, which is regenerative finance. So DeFi was a decentralized finance, was like we call them DZen. They're like everything what they do is making money and more extractions, and let's do, go get like 20% yield and stuff like that, which is very interesting. Without those experiments, we would not have a refi experience either. But now that there is a opposite party of called a regenerative regenerate five, and then we call them regen. So there is like a regen network and actually building a blockchain network. And then I think our friend Matthew from Bangaroa is working very close with them. So there will be something will be born in New Zealand in the near future. And then there is also Refi DAO that does cover a lot of different refi topics and the content creation and the community creation. And also there is a people in the normal text space, for example, like we do satellite and we do carbon credit, we do that and that and that. And they start to actually seeing the interaction, and it just happened like last 2 years. And they started talking with the refi people and government, and they try to come up with something. So I'm really interested in nature-backed asset. So how can these countries that have a vast wild nature still preserved, and instead of they cutting those down and burn them down, and that's the only financial incentive for them to do so. That's why they've done it. But if there's another way of incentivizing these people, utilizing tokenizations or different kind of DAO activities, or incentivizing individuals, organizations, whoever in this kind of like bigger map, and they can actually do that. And then technology is improving, the narrative improving, people's awareness improving. So I see that there is something going to come up in the future soon. So those are the countries like Gabon in Africa, Costa Rica, Ecuador. So there is a few government already experimenting with the idea. So let's see, hopefully that works. And in terms of gatherings, we're going to emphasize like a lot of social enterprise and the climate things, and a little thing that we think is not really important, but because of the experience is so powerful, when people are open and then those input comes in, it actually, seeding something in their mind and then the body. And even signaling that is really, really important. So we're just using a lot of our little thing and little, not, I wouldn't even say decoration, but like little things that we're implementing as a seeding process. And so people have like, oh, wow, this product, I thought social enterprise all just like cheap quality, but like good story. But I thought that's still the narrative, right? But like people can see, wow, this is amazing quality and amazing value. And I would love to do this more. And how can I find it more information? So that's how we hope to see that bringing more massive public kind of awareness awaken that way.
So I have a little bit of a follow-up on that. It just in terms of like the experience design piece, I'm curious, like, what are your main like walkaways? Like, we really hope people walk away from gatherings having learned, experienced, etc., felt.
I think it's a very small thing that, but I really enjoy this, is particularly in the soulbound. And then there's so little, but I think it's so important, is really the building the heart connection before the head connection. And especially in the Web3 space, often where we go to the conference, people were like, oh, what do you do? That's basically the first question. And if you're not interested enough for them and they are not going deeper, right? And I'm looking for money and you're an investor, perfect. But like, you're looking for money as well. But I'm not really interested in talking to you. And then, so you miss out a lot of different opportunity. And in a Web3 space particularly, people are not just wearing a one hat. They're wearing a multiple triple hats. So even if I'm building something, I'm also an investor too, right? So you never know what's behind this person. And then two, one, there's human connection in that way. But two is we still in the very early stage of building the narrative. And the narrative is extremely disconnected from the West to East, technology and the human building from design to reason. So we need to really build that connection by talking to each other. And that talking can be, yes, intellectual, but when you're together in the one space, this is a really amazing. They're like, wow, I just get to know each other really, really well. And the best outcome or best feedback that I quite like in the last week was like, some people were still saying like, actually, we're spending this all 3 or 4 days together. I still don't know what most of people who is here doing, but I really know who you are, what you like, and some of our Korean participants, they were saying like, I've never asked how I think, how I feel when I go to this event. People always ask something about my professional capacity. But now people like, oh, what do you think about this topic? What do you like to say? And there's a lot of different points, and it will be such a memorable event for them. And then they now have a confidence to actually ask those questions back to the other people, right? Because they now know that it's okay to ask, like, what's your opinion, rather than like, what are you doing? And then staying in the head space. So, and also that I saw, like, once you connect in the heart level, headspace is really easy because Web3 is so relational and so contextual. Once you really like this person, there are so many different ways that you can help this personal project to go forward. So that happened really easy. So I see that kind of conversion rate is really, really good. So I think it's helping the ecosystem, not just the individual. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like what I want to see as an outcome. Some are not really tangible outcome, but I think there will be a way to measure our tangible outcome. And after that thing, we also form this Gitcoin proposal, and I think it might be interesting for you. So I will just take some time to show you guys how it looked like. So Gitcoin is basically the biggest public good funding mechanism in crypto space at the moment, especially the Ethereum ecosystem. And how they actually fund different things is it's not about like it's not like a crowdfunding. So if Bridget pledged $5 and then $10 or whatever 20, and it meets 15, then it goes on. That's normal public funding. But here they have a matching pool set up. So the round that we join, let me share the screen quickly. Yeah, this is one, and then where's the oops. Can you see this website?
Yep.
So donate to Gitcoin grants and beta round. So these are the partner who is putting money into the matching pool. So this is basically the base funding that they're using. And there is a few different rounds. You can easily see like open source software. Of course, they get the biggest 350K matching pool. And there is a Web3 social getting very small 50K, also 50K because it's one particular project doing this. And token engineering 25, and Web3 community and education, this is 200 matching pool. So at the last like harvesting session that some of us like saying like, we should actually apply on this. So we put our application together on the very last day and we worked until like 3 a.m. to do this. So you go, now you can see it. We find like as I said earlier, there's a 25. It's like some is small, some is big. And DeSci is another very interesting topic, but I can cover later another time. But anyway, it's a climate solution. They get even more, okay, 350. So these are already, effort happening. So when you go to this thing, the funding mechanism is people can vote, not voting, actually donate. So even if you donate for $1, $2, I think Josh can explain a little bit better, but it doesn't matter how much you are funding, but how many people funding for this project. So there's more people funding this one particular project, and there's more matching happening. So it's a quadratic funding. I'm just having a hard time. Josh, can you pronounce this for me? I don't know if it's still around. Yeah, so we put this
the quadratic funding. I couldn't find my Zoom window because of the presentation.
Quadratic funding, yeah. So we put this like application together, right? Like, and there is already like 2 people contributed, and then now we get matching fund, and then they are probably altogether they put like $25 or like 45, and they will be getting more, and so we will be doing these things. And but sorry, I think I carried away. I forgot the the questions, but
I think we're flowing and covering a lot of territory. So
yeah, so this is a totally possible, and it's so easy to I wouldn't say so easy, but like you can still, there is so many different way of getting fundings and then do things and moving forward in the Web3 space. Yeah.
Songyi, is that an open link, or do you have to be part of that platform to see that link?
You can have a look. I'll share the link with you all. And then there is some that is very, Web3 focused, but a lot of it like very random stuff too, a lot of cultural stuff as well. It depends on the round. I will share it with you.
Do folks have other questions to pop in? Reflections, feedbacks? Big celebrations of brilliance.
So in my head, the support you need is once you get your website and stuff, you want people to eyeball it and give you feedback on what your offering sounds like.
Yes, yes. And then also like once we're fully ready, maybe promoting a little bit. And then also there will be way more collaborations gonna happen, I think, with people in Inspiral or people like Inspiral. So yeah, it's just more connections.
And essentially leads for people who want to pay you to host events is the most valuable thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm pretty sure I think later we would be doing way more different type of gatherings, like not just like a client paid, but yeah, I want to test like different models here and there. Yeah.
I think you also mentioned slide decks as well. Happy to look through any of those or any other promotional materials. So I do grant writing on the side, so I see hundreds of these. So happy to help out with anything.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm excited to chat about DBWT tomorrow and would love to like jam more on any of the experience design pieces as you start to like keep shaping and iterating on what you just did.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important that we work together, because even if they come together and it's just a one-time experience, and I wish that people are more equipped with man, this name
I know.
to be better together before they come, so we can actually prepare some a nuance before they come, and that they can actually practice beforehand, and then they come and then maximize their experience together offline.
So do you have a project up in Gitcoin at the moment?
Yes, it's called Xbound.
Xbound, cool.
Yeah. Thank Josh. I don't know if you're gonna vote, but like, please do that.
Yeah, and it might also just be worth sharing that in Wider and Spiral. I'm not sure how many people give in Gitcoins. I usually give in every second one or so. And so I've got a couple which I usually, contribute to. And so thanks, Frank.
Kia ora.
But it might be worth just letting more people know.
Mm.
Are you doing like any particular work to keep stewarding this like network of people that just connected at Soulbound? Like, are they actively continuing to weave in some way?
Yeah, I think that's the Xbound has come up from the one of the session that they continue doing that, and they want to build a playbook of like how this kind of experience gonna happen. So I also don't want to do like how can I say, I don't want the gatherings doing all the work, and if there's any work can be done of the gatherings, and we can collaborate. I think that's the kind of the best model. And so Xbound, even if I started Soulbound, Xbound, whoever, I think the local context is extremely important. So some of us can come up with a playbook, and that's what this money is for, to build that. And then if they do it in Kenya, and then the Kenya bound team will just going to take over, and then we will help guide and then come help facilitating if it's needed. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. We had like 60, 70 very active participants. They all really willing to help. So it's been quite amazing. And then I still see that we had 5 different groups outcome came out, and we're just gonna continue doing each of the process. Yeah.
All right, we have like 5 minutes left, and this has been like so dense and juicy. I'm wondering if it might be nice to really close together and do a round where we each have a chance to just share like some takeaways or appreciations and encouragements, or kind of whatever feels top of mind. Yeah, as we close this deep dive. And I'm just gonna leave space, and whoever wants to jump in first can.
Maybe I start first. I know it's a lot to digest in some sense. I'm happy to like break down and then do more conversation with each individual who was interested in doing this. And gathering is just one manifestation of my work and intention. And I don't think it's gonna be the end of my journey. So I think just let's keep just do the brainstorming and the different idea, and our whole goal is to just really helping and spark the new idea experiment, and then keep giving to others and making overflow of a whole ecosystem. So I'm super excited to be in the place with our Inspire DAO as well, and be like a broader Inspire ecosystem. And yeah, thank you so much for your attention and showing up today to listen, deep dive with us.
I think what's top for me as we close is just to name, like, I felt really connected to your why when you named like the why of gatherings. which is like this need that, or this like assumption, belief that we will build better online communities when we are intentional about being in space together and learning in this like very human way with each other. And the why of like building the muscles to start with the heart. So I just want to share that I resonated with that, and I'm really like celebrating what you're doing and excited for more.
My brain was going to kind of the uniqueness of it all and some of the really juicy challenges that come along with it, kind of thinking about, well, what does it mean selling like experiences and facilitations and gatherings to DAO communities in particular, rather than like a corporate setting or a community like Inspiral or a nonprofit? Like, what makes those buyers, if you will, unique, and like how do you position specifically for them? And similarly, that's not your typical like sales process either, right? Like it's not like, oh, there's like an HR department and you pitch them on, or there's like a business leader. Like the way that those organizations like make decisions is like very unique. So kind of how do you get deep insight into the way this communities buy so that it's easier for you to kind of market to them, if that makes sense? Yeah, lots of like really juicy challenges there to think about.
Yeah, I really I just went straight into the like, okay, cool. What sort of leads do you need, and how do you do more of them? I mean, gatherings have been such a influential part of my Inspiral journey, and from Billy's stuff, and just from seeing what can be done in them, and seeing how life changing they can be for so many people. So I think it's a really solid theory of change. But just like just host really good gatherings for people, and like particularly people who have asymmetrical impact because of either their wealth or their technology or their position. And if you can help shift them in meaningful ways, that I think can be a very subtle and powerful impact in the world. And that seems to me the potential of this work in this sort of domain. And then it's a case of, all the gatherings I've been part of and seen are all very much volunteer based. How can you actually do it so people can earn a livelihood from it? And who's got money and how do you pitch that? It just feels like an interesting business problem to me.
Yeah, I was sort of blown away by your experience in the Web3, and as somebody who sort of has an aversion to technology. Just it's a different possibility space, and you mentioning kind of that heart first as the outcome just feels to me like it makes the whole space more approachable, and just yeah, I don't know, given my inexperience with Web3, how I can help, but I feel like my heart's in wanting to help. So thanks for your presentation. I think, yeah, that opportunity to learn more, maybe I'll reach out, because it feels like there are just so many juicy things you alluded to that pique my interest as somebody who's yeah, pretty new to the space, and really grateful that there are people like you in the Web3 space. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and it was great to kind of go on a decade plus journey from like the beginning of Bitcoin with you, and kind of remember where we all were then, and also just kind of the moving from decentralized finance to regenerative finance, and how we can always kind of challenge ourselves to make these structures better for ourselves and our world. So it was really great hearing that stuff.
All
Lovely.
right.
Thank Yeah, I wanted to give a little bit of like a response to Itamar, but he left. Hopefully he watched the recording at the end. Yeah, so I think it's all about right now is to give a little bit of teaser of the experience, and whoever comes to the experience with us, and they will go and then pitch to their community. I think that's just the best way to pitch to sponsors, or pitch to people, pitch who make decisions. And I think this opportunity and this experience is very unique in the Web3 space particularly. So people will feel that. And I think it's really good opportunity for all of us to show up, and then also understanding and having more awareness, importance of facilitation, importance of something invisible. So I think that's what I'm keep pitching for. Like, we're focusing too much something on the visual, but like let's do more invisible thing. How can we make it more visible? And then Web3 allow that to happen in the financial way. So that's my last piece.
Nice. Thanks all. Good to be together. I'll get this recording